This is where we belong.
Hi guys, and welcome to another video with Xander Freemaker. Welcome to Starfield and episode 5 of Shattered. First off, I want to thank everyone for commenting on my last video in Shattered Part 4, and as always, just brilliant. And I think I've pretty much responded to every comment that was sent to me. I hope you liked my response to your comments, and I look forward to many more. As many of you will know by now, all my videos are unscripted because I have to process all the information that I listen to, and then I kind of put everything into the right compartments, and then of course I have to then pull from those compartments to make a video. So you know, sometimes it feels I'm slowing down. It's not that I'm slowing down, it's because, dude, I'm trying to sort of compile all the information that I've compiled in my head. I don't like using scripts, you know. I want to be like Marlon Brando, you know, just turn up to the studio and just bang, out there and then. No point in reading the script. In this video, I want to talk about something really important that I caught in a Todd Howard interview. And although he didn't go deeply into this subject about the game, he brushed over it pretty quick. And the reason for that, because I think the person that was interviewing him, I don't think really understood the philosophical angle from which this particular essence of the game had been, shall we say, not just designed, but also approached. And you could tell even during that interview that I was watching of Todd, he began to delve into it and then quickly retracted really fast, and then of course moved on. And then that caught me, and I knew something, you know, he was, you know, wanting to expand on that, but he didn't. And I can understand why, because I think the interviewer wasn't, I'm not going to say he wasn't mature enough. I think the guy who was interviewing was, you know, he was actually pretty good. But I don't think he connected with him on that level. Of course, you know, Todd Howard is a 53-year-old man, and he's talking to someone more than half his age. And, you know, for someone to understand his thinking method, you know, you need someone who's a bit maturer. And unfortunately, you know, he didn't go deep into this. I wish he did, but I did catch it, you know, in my late 40s, and I kind of began to understand. Personally, I felt he wanted to get philosophical about it, but, you know, he knew that the person that he was being interviewed by just wasn't up to, you know, the game. And when I caught that, I went to myself, oh, you sneaky bugger. Oh, you sneaky bugger. I know exactly what you're talking about. And it's that subject I want to talk about the game, because it is in the game, and it is about loneliness, the loneliness of space, the desolation of that loneliness in space and what it means. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So during the game design process of Starfield, as you know, that only 10% of the planets are inhabited with life, and the rest is just dead. Could be beautiful landscapes, but mainly moons. And he covered this just briefly in his interview, and I felt it interesting because we as human beings have all felt lonely at some point in our lives, and we understand that feeling. It's not something you can describe. You know, you probably need a poet for that, but you know, not all of us are poets. But what we are as men, very deep thinkers. We do think about these things, and just generally in life as a whole. And the one thing I will say about men, that we are like fine wine. We age well, let's put it like that. And that's what I think about men as a whole. So when you meet a young, you know, whippersnapper, you know, who's in his teens, you know, he's going to be really tough to control. You know, he's gonna whip back at you responses which are, you know, like gonna probably piss you off. But then as older as you get better and better and better. And when you reach your 40s and 50s, you know, you become pretty wise because you've seen life. And when they were, you know, designing this game, they talked about this at Bethesda. They talked about what is it like to be alone in space? How does it feel to be alone in space? You know, and I thought about this question, the absolute pinnacle of what it means to be lonely. Because in space, you're not going to find a drive-through out there. I can assure you of that. And if you just look at our system, just our system alone, forget about the fictional systems that, you know, Bethesda has created, just our system, we know that the only planet in our entire system that is inhabited is Earth. We're 8 billion of us, and every other planet, well, is pretty much dead. Of course, you know, some will say, no, you're wrong, there are aliens on the moon. And I went, yeah, all right, okay, I get it. You know, even I like the UFO phenomena. I'm a big fan of that as well. But, you know, let's just come down to earth a bit. Let's use our rational thinking. And we know that there's nothing out there. If you want to get technical, you know, NASA has found biological life. I shouldn't say found, I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Discovered that there is biological life on other planets within our system. But you know what? They're not exactly walking around, you know, and dishing out coffee. But, you know, if you want to get technical. But other than that, you're not going to find, you know, creatures running around here or there. We even sent a rover to Mars, and they haven't found anything except rocks and a lot of sand, and that's it. You know, you can't inhabit Mars. It's basically impossible. It is impossible at the moment anyway. So here is, you know, Todd Howard and a bunch of other designers sitting in a room talking about what is it like to be in space. And, you know, you can look at some of the scenes where you are walking, you know, on a dead moon, you know, with Jupiter in the background. And it's a beautiful sight to see, but it is a dead moon. And the only way they can make that interesting for the player, because they know if they don't, players will not go there. And why would you want to go to a dead moon? And the only way they could tempt you to do that is so that you could find resources, set up an outpost. And that's the only way they can make that interesting. But saying that, the whole idea behind that is that when you are there, that you would actually feel that loneliness. And that's what they try to portray in this game. And that's the, you know, one of their objectives is to portray that. Because they know, just like you and I know, that there's no life apart from Earth in our system. Okay, you know, I might get bombarded now by, we saw a UFO on the moon, you know, but we all know that's a lot of BS. But that's just the way it is. There is that loneliness. Now, you know, there are movies out there that have tried to project that, you know, in the movies. And the best one that I can think of right now that does that really well, and I'm kind of like pulled between both these movies. The first one, of course, is Odyssey. But of course, that's not on any planet, but that's just in space. But the other one, which also is in space, and that is Ad Astra, the one with Brad Pitt. And I felt that movie, you know, it had lots of mixed reviews. And I thought that film was just groundbreaking. It is so brilliantly, you know, made. The idea of that loneliness, of being alone, where you know no one's coming out to get you. To create, you know, that feeling, absoluteness, the silence, the fact that there's nothing you can do, there's nothing you can say, and you're there. And in the game, they wanted to project that. And that's why in this game, you will find players, and this will definitely happen, well, they'll just be walking around for hours. I'm not joking, because I would probably do it as well. Yes, you'll set up an outpost, because they're going to give you a reason to go there. And that's only part of that game design that Todd had put in there. And that is to collect resources. And that's the only reason why we will go there, is to collect resources. But at the same time, he wants to project that loneliness of space and then somehow project it onto you. Now, of course, will it project onto a young whippersnapper? I doubt it. But definitely the mature player audience, and I'm talking players in their 40s, even in their 50s, will begin to understand and see it. You know, I have this 50-inch flat screen, and I have seen, you know, the YouTube videos of this game, and it's amazing on the big screen. It's like literally, it's just fantastic. Then I see the game on my phone, and you don't feel anything. You don't feel the pull. Or even on a monitor, 25, 30-inch monitor. You're not going to feel it. I don't think you will. But on a huge screen, and with the lights off, you're going to feel it. That is, like he kind of said in his interview, that's what they want to create, is that feeling that you are alone in space and there's nothing you can do. But you're there with a purpose, of course, and that is to set up an outpost. Now, some of these places that you visit, these dead moons or planets, they may be inhabited by other humans, you know, crash landed or you might meet some pirates, or you may even come across religious factions, all sorts of factions. And of course, on a lot of these planets, definitely we may even see a lot of combat, space stations or an outpost there, and you just go in there, blow the crap out of everybody. So that's going to also be in the game. But a lot of the planets will be just totally dead, where you just have to walk around for hours, and hours. But here is something that Todd did say, which I thought was very interesting. He talked about a game I know nothing about, by the way. It's called Skyrim, and many of you Bethesda loyalists have played this game. And he talked about there being like a horde hidden away with rewards, and of course in the game they hide it so well, it's almost impossible to find. Players do eventually, after hours and hours and hours of playtime, they eventually find it. Now I did, because I have never played Skyrim, so I have no idea. I read a comment by, it's not one of my subscribers, this was when I was watching the interview. One of the guys said in the comments that Skyrim saved his life, that he was at the lowest point in his life and Skyrim saved him. And I thought, for him to say that, was brave, I think is the right word. And then when I read that comment, I then began to think a little bit more, that why is Todd doing this? Why is he creating moons completely desolate so we can walk around for hours and hours and hours? And it came to me, it's all about adversity. That's right, adversity. To overcome challenges they throw before you. It is on these moons, on these planets, these dead ones that are totally uninhabited. And if they are inhabited, they're inhabited by probably I'm not talking about creatures, I'm talking about, other factions. And so you have to overcome this, the absolute loneliness of being in space. And I think that's an excellent design aspect to the game. And I just thought, what? Todd, you really thought this one out. And I'm probably missing out a lot of what he's trying to project in this game, but I think it is adversity to overcome that, to overcome the obstacles. I know nothing about Skyrim, and I think there's a lot of that in that game as well. I'm just saying that, so if I'm right or wrong, please tell me in the comments. So on these planets, or dead moons, orbiting other planets, you're going to be there. You're going to be walking around. Now, we've seen all the scenes on YouTube videos, and it's there is where you're going to be building your outposts. That's right there. You're going to be building them all over the place. And it is on these moons you're going to be surveying or exploring the entire moon. And it's on these moons is where you will get or find this secret stash, if not some kind of reward. So that's really, really important. So yeah, I don't know how long it will take a player to fully survey or fully explore a moon or a planet, but it isn't going to be a day, that's for sure. And I, like myself and like many other players, we're going to record what we play, and we're going to post it here on YouTube for all to see. And I can tell you right now, get ready for a long walk. That's right, just a long walk. And then returning back to your ship, and then taking off, and then flying to a different part of that planet or the part of the moon to do more walking around. And you're going to continue to do that, and you're going to set up probably, I don't know, maybe half a dozen outposts on one moon, maybe, because you do want to make money, right? And I think that's a good thing, because if every moon or planet is inhabited, you're not going to be able to make any cash. You're going to be busy just fighting. It's going to be just that constantly, and it's you're going to miss out on the real adventure of what space exploration is all about. And that's what it is. Space exploration is, if anything, is bloody boring. We see archaeologists do it all the time. They sit in the mud with a little brush and a trowel, and they just scoop away, and it's exciting for them, and to many people it's not. But when you're exploring in space, as exciting as it sounds, you're going to be faced with that loneliness of walking on that moon. You may even have if you're lucky enough, early in the game, you'll have your droid to keep you company. It won't be C-3PO, I can tell you that now. I'll tell you what, if CP3O was with me, on that planet, you'd probably want to kill him. You have your droid or your robot, but I doubt who will be there on every mission. But when you're on that planet and you're exploring, and I think if you play it on the big screen, and if you do have, if you've got a long HDMI cable, many of you will be playing it on the Xbox anyway. But yeah, if you can connect your PC to a big, huge TV, I'm telling you, mate, you're going to be impressed. And I think you're going to begin to understand what Todd was trying to achieve in his design. That's just my thoughts on that. I mean, please, if you have a different thought on that as well, you know very well I like the engagement between myself and all you guys out there. I will briefly, again, just touch on, factions and religious factions, and of course you've got the cults as well, so you're all going to have that mixture in. I can imagine, for example, you're on let's say a moon around Jupiter. Definitely going to be around Jupiter. I don't know why I keep mentioning Jupiter, but definitely with Jupiter, there's going to be one of those moons is going to have a outpost that belongs to some pirate faction, and you're going to go in there and blow the crap out of everyone and take over, so that's definitely going to happen. So I'm looking forward to that. But remember, there's only I think it's only 10% that are inhabited by worlds, and those worlds are not in our solar system. So Earth's solar system will be pretty desolate, that's for sure, unless you'll come across some space stations, which is most likely to happen, and maybe some crashed ships and maybe the odd outpost here and there. But other than that, I think Earth's system will be definitely pretty much empty. You will face that adversity, and if it does come across in the game, because no one's played it yet, but if it does come across in the game, that loneliness of what it's like to be in space. I mentioned earlier about Ad Astra. If you guys haven't watched that movie, please do watch it. It will really get to you. I mean, there is a deeper plot storyline to it. It is about between a father and a son, but it is quite an emotional movie. I've seen it 2-3 times. It is a brilliant movie. For a movie like that, Brad Pitt just played the role perfectly. I don't think any other actor could have played that role except Brad Pitt. Yeah, it definitely is a brilliant movie. Please do watch it. And also, if you have watched it, you can put your comments down, because in that movie they do talk about, they don't talk about the desolation of what it's like to feel totally alone in space, but you can feel the emotion. You can see, you could hear it in the words when they're spoken, and there are very few words spoken in this film. The projection of that loneliness, of what it feels, how it feels to be in space in the film, I think, for me personally, I think it was projected really well, and it gives you that food for thought of what it feels like. And I think Todd here again and his team had also talked about this. Definitely, there's no way they could have not talked about it. I haven't played the game, so I can't tell you, and neither can anyone else at the moment. But if you just look at the videos that are out there on YouTube, I think they're trying to, yes, there's a beautiful scenery, it's a beautiful terrain. As beautiful as it is, it's also merciless at the same time. And I actually felt that when I first saw these videos posted on YouTube. I will add this regarding the movie Ad Astra. If you have seen it and you're in your 40s or your 50s, and you got your dads or like in their 60s, maybe even 70s, and you will understand this movie at its very core. And the younger audience may not get it, but to the definitely to the older players, you'll definitely understand what the hell I'm talking about. This relationship, this connection between Brad Pitt and his dad in this movie. His dad played by Tommy Lee Jones. So, coming to the end of this video, I don't really want to say in conclusion, because to this, loneliness aspect of the game design in this game, for Starfield, I don't want to say this is the conclusion of that. And it isn't, because for everyone who plays this game, it will be a different experience. Some may connect, some may not. I have an idea, and I think this would be really good. Of course, we've all seen that Charlton Heston movie classic, The 10 Commandments. Well, you know what? I'm going to invent commandments for Starfield. And the first commandment is, thou shalt turn off the lights when they play this game. Commandment 2, thou shalt play this game after midnight. Commandment 3, thou shalt tuck everyone in bed and kiss your loved one and tell her how wonderful she is and how useless you are without her, so that you can play this damn game in peace. Commandment 4, have lots of snacks. Commandment 5, well, if you want to dress up, cosplay, that's up to you, but a blanket will be fine, I guess. And Commandment 6, turn off your damn phone. And the rest of the commandments, I'll let you guys leave a comment in the, shall we say, your commandments in the comments. And I'm telling you, let's do that. Let's come up with these commandments and let's just share that with everybody around the world. What do you think about that? So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope I was able to even get the message across what Tom Howard was talking about when he talked about loneliness in space. I may have done a terrible job doing this, but you know what? I'm only human at the end of the day. That's it. That's all I can say on that subject. But I can say this. Please like and subscribe. Tell your friends. Spread the word. Share my video, of course. And until next time, ciao for now.